Hey there, everyone. Gen X Man back with the show, back with something a little different, doing something completely unscripted. I mean, I've got a couple bullet points in front of me, but going off the script. Well, I'm not going off the script because I don't have a script, but oh my goodness, I just got back from the Superman movie, and I watched it, and I'm here to offer my thoughts. Now, obviously, this is my take on it. I am not an authority on anything, so. Just take this as one person's opinion who went and saw it, and this is my honest feelings. I've been a Superman fan my whole life, so. But anyway, we'll dive right into it. One point was that the beginning of the movie was told and not shown. There's a scroll. Oh, by the way, there are spoilers in this video. This entire video is spoilers. If you don't want it spoiled, don't watch this. Go watch the movie first, then come back. But anyway, the beginning of the movie, we have a title scroll introducing us to what's going on. And one of the lessons I learned in college in writing, and I didn't learn a whole lot of them, but I remember this one, was you show, don't tell. You show what's going on, you don't exposit. And this wasn't like the Star Wars crawl where it's just like, oh, this is what's going on in the galaxy. This was there's all this cool stuff that happened off screen that you're not going to get to see. So don't worry about that. Here we are right now. And it's kind of like this is how we start. Okay, we're starting with hey, I wanted to see what happened before, but oh well. Another point was bad costumes. The costumes receive an F minus from me. They look like beginner cosplay. I say that because wife and I have watched, those convention cosplay videos, just watching people dress up in their cool outfits, and I mean, a lot of them are really impressive and mind blowing. And this movie was not that. These costumes look ill fitting. They look cheap. They look plasticky. They just and in addition to the other aspects of the films, it's not like you see them and you're like, oh, the superheroes, and it's just like, well, no, these are just people, and they're just dressing up and something they made, and and need to watch a few videos on how to actually make a costume from these very talented cosplayers. But moving on, this version of Superman feels horrendously out of place in his own universe, like he was transplanted from some other reality. And maybe this was the point for Gunn, because one of the themes he tried to, beat you over the head mercilessly throughout the movie was that Superman's an alien, Superman's an alien, Superman's an alien. It's just kind of like, well, yeah, we've had 100 years of Superman being an alien and 100 years of not caring that he's an alien. That point was made in a comic book here or there, but it was never really part of any of the movies or anything like that. So it was just like kind of like, well, strange visitor from another planet, and that was it. You didn't worry about it because he looks exactly like a human. But Gunn was just like, no, this is an alien. He's from someplace else, and he does not fit in this universe at all. And it's just the sense of otherness felt very off. It doesn't flow. It doesn't mesh for me. And there was a Spider-Man cartoon on Disney Plus where the Peter Parker presented felt like something straight out of the 60s, and the rest of the cartoon was 2025 Bronx. And it's jarring and weird and doesn't work for me. And this presentation was very much like that. So maybe it was intended, but even if it was intended, it didn't work. I don't know how to politely put this, but the movie's fucking gross. Like, it is grotesque. I didn't realize I had nailed it with a previous video. I wish I could say like, oh yeah, I knew what I was talking about the whole time. I didn't. But it turned out to be very true. This is a grotesque movie. There are bodily fluids flying all over. There's alien body of fluids. There's bones crunching and cracking, and you hear it in beautiful surround sound, bass thumping. There's MMA style fight injuries, like broken elbows, dislocated shoulder. I mean, just oh, this film is very much alongside Suicide Squad and Peacemaker and so on. It feels very at home in those realities, which is also Gunn. So you're like, okay, so that is consistent throughout all of Gunn's work. But my point is, it's Superman. It was, it took me out. Like even though it was bright and sunshiny and you could tell it wasn't dark, but you could tell everything was going on. It wasn't optimistic. It wasn't up looking. It was very, very just like, let's get down into the viscera and gore and disgusting aspects of being a human being and just wallow around in that. And it was just like, I'm like, but it's Superman. But another point, if you're going to go watch this movie, you may want to consider taking Dramamine before you go. There is so much spinning camera. I felt like my POV was the edge of a helicopter blade. It's extreme. What J.J. Abrams was to lens flare, James Gunn is to spinny cam. So be forewarned. Another point, this is a personal point. They did my girl wrong. Angela Spica, the engineer from the comic book The Authority and several others, they turned her into a mustache twirling supervillain. I mean, I was introduced to her through the Warren Ellis, the Mark Millar engineer, the Authority, and so on, and she was through and through a good guy. And instead of her being given power to try and elevate humanity into a utopia like the comic, she's given her powers by Luthor. And this is a petty point, but of course that she is some Black Ops badass. Of course she is. All 117 pounds, 5 feet 5 inches of her. Sure, of course. Why not? Why was being a science nerd not good enough? Why does she have to be Black Ops? Just this may be a petty point, but coming from the engineer of the comics to this, I was annoyed. I was very annoyed because I was a big fan of the engineer in the comics, and this character is just one dimensional. Just they did my girl wrong. It's not good. It's not cool. It's not cool. Don't do that. I think Gunn also another point is that he intended Ultraman to be more of a surprise than he was. However, the minute I saw him, I knew it was just like, oh yeah, that's David Cornsweet. I was like, yeah, it's Superman. I was like, yeah, I figure Luthor cloned him from a strand of hair. And then later in the movie, Luthor says those exact words. And I was like, oh my God, hire me, Disney. Hire me. I got you figured. But anyway, but also I felt like the Snyderverse did that better with their treatment of Doomsday for what it's worth. I felt like that was way more organic and earned and such. This just felt like it was like it's okay, whatever. Another point. This is a whole universe of people I don't care about. I didn't care about any of these characters. None of them, not one, held even a sliver of emotional connection for, except maybe Miss Tessmacher. I feel bad for her. Like, I mean, Jimmy Olsen's a dick. I hate him. And Miss Tessmacher was poor, poor thing. I mean, sure, you can say, oh well, she's ditzy and clingy. It's like, well, so what? I mean, it's just like she was one of the most good-hearted characters in the movie. Everybody else is just no. But yeah, these are just a bunch of quipping cardboard cutout action figures. I did feel I did feel one emotion for one character in particular, however. I remember seeing Superman getting his ass handed to him for the 40th time in the movie and thinking, please, Gunn, put him out of his misery. Put me out of my misery watching this guy just get punted around the screen like a football for 129 minutes. This dude just got beat on, just beat down and smashed and spit on and cussed at, and everybody turns on him and he can't win a fight. I was just like, holy crap, this poor guy, this poor guy. That's what I thought the whole time. I was like, this poor dude. But anyway, there's some graphic chemistry. Now I remember seeing an interview where Gunn's choice to cast Cornsweet and Brosnahan as Clark and Lois, he said that they had really good chemistry together, and holy shit, they have very good chemistry together. Like, oh my god, I don't remember how many. I think there's only two scenes where they embrace, where they get kissy kissy, and they are so graphic and so just sincerely, earnestly passionate that I was like, man, these two could teach porn stars a trick or two on how to, project that realism, that sincerity. I was embarrassed. I was just sitting there like, oh, should we be carding people to watch this movie? It's a lot. It's a lot. And there was the second scene is at the end, and she's just like, you want to take me interview? He's like, yeah. She's like, let's interview over here. And I figured, okay, there's going to be some lovey-lovey. But the lovey-lovey between them was so intense and passionate and vigorous that I was just like, oh God, Gunn, God, do not show them having sex, please. I'm begging you. I've looked up a lot of Rule 34 in my life, or Rule 43, whatever it is, but I have never looked up Superman, and I don't want to look now. It's like, please don't do this. I had very real concerns that we were going to watch Superman and Lois go at it like bad touch. But thankfully, that wasn't the case, at least in this version. Maybe if you get the director's cut, we'll see it. But on a positive note, there were some great performances in this movie. Several actors turned in really solid performance, not the least of which is Nicholas Hoult, which continues the trend of casting excellent Luthors for the Superman movies. Corn Sweat did a fine job. Brosnahan is fine as Lois, if a little forgettable. Like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, felt he nailed it. That was good. Eddie Gathegi is pretty cool as Mr. Terrific. Glad to see he got another superhero gig after we hadn't seen him since the X-Men First Class, I don't think. But also, Mr. Terrific is another point. Mr. Terrific, totally not Tony Stark. He just felt like Mr. Terrific just felt like a Tony Stark that was intentionally designed to not be like Tony Stark, if that makes sense. It felt like exactly the same spirit, the exact same function in the narrative, but they changed every detail they could and tried to make it like, oh, he's not in a suit, he's got these balls and he's in this chair. He's not this or that, the other thing, he's this, and so on. But yeah, but also, the comparisons were inevitable. And I just didn't feel like the character deviated enough in his own way. Like the whole like, oh, I'm emotionless thing. Well, I was like, well, okay, but that's not really a heroic journey. It's not a character arc. It's just a trait. And like I said, there's a billion characters in this film, so people don't really get their chance to shine, to grow. So, but his fight scene at the camp in particular felt ridiculously over the top. It had me rolling my eyes real hard, and of course cringing at more of James Gunn's weird music choices being just blasted at me. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I wish I could pick my soundtrack. But the rest of the actors I didn't really care about or care for. It was a long line of meh burgers, and it was a long line. There's a lot of characters in this movie. There must have been 110 characters. It's a lot, which is a James Gunn trait. But another point was, this movie kind of stole Invincible's plot. There was a change that I thought was a misdirect in the movie, but it turns out that it wasn't. I kept waiting until the end of the movie for it to be a thing. Was that, I mean, beyond casting Bradley Cooper to be Jor-El, it was a bold choice, but they sent Kal-El Earth to Earth to conquer it and make a very big point of him keeping a huge harem. Like that point was brought up throughout the movie many, many, many times, and not in small tones. They were just like, Superman's going to have sex with every woman on Earth and impregnate them. I mean, it was more of the grotesquerie, more of the just like, oh, this is sick. So there was that. I mean, and I just kept sitting there thinking, I was like, man, if Siegel and Schuster could see this, wow. I really detested this, along with the engineer being made into a cartoon villain. But yeah, this was sending the super person to Earth to take it over. Robert Kirkman's Invincible. And the ordinary part of me kind of hopes he sues Gunn for stealing that idea, but I mean, it's probably generic enough to where you can't say anything. Or there's some comic from 30 years ago where some alternate dimension Krypton was a conquering race, so they can be like, no, it's still canon. It's still shady. It's what it is, but whatever. Whatever. I mean, maybe he was trying to farm the Invincible crowd for put more butts in seats. But another point. I'm sorry for all the fruity language in this, but that fucking dog. I'm not going to go into all the side characters because there's just too many. We'd be here all night. But of particular note is that goddamn dog. Every freaking scene with this dog, it has to be wreaking havoc. It has no other personality traits or behaviors at all. It just destroys. That's all it does. I mean, this dog has severe behavioral problems, the kind that are never cured, only slightly controlled and channeled after decades of training. It is the definition of a one trick pony. Is Crypto in a scene? Then Crypto's destroying something. It's only at the end that Kal-El is able to use the dog to some advantage, and even then, it's not an evolution of the dog as a character, it's simply learning to aim this ICBM at an enemy, which begs the question, what's going to happen when there's no enemies around? Well, it's going to go right back to destroying everything. It drove me crazy. It was so disruptive and obnoxious. Plus, the CGI, at least to me, was very noticeable, which is another problem. All the CGI, very, very, very disruptively noticeable. I don't know if I'm just reaching my limit with CGIBS or if it was poorly executed, but it was distracting. The kaiju, the dog, buildings falling over, on and on. It just didn't work for me. This was not 93's Jurassic Park somehow not being able to trick my eyes the way a 30-year-old movie still does. So, what was that? This was very cartoony, but not in a good way. You know me, I love my cartoons. I love my cheese. Uh, this was more like a bland Looney Tunes or something. Like it was flat. The execution of a lot of scenes and such was very cartoony and flat, but not in a good way. And then there were scenes where we zoom in on someone's tooth being knocked out, just the viscera and fluids and everything just spackling all over the camera. So the attention to detail just came and went, and there didn't seem to be a unified vision for it doing so. There wasn't like a consistency. Another point was that this felt overwhelmingly, at least to me, that this was James Gunn as Superman. There was a lot of Gunn in Gunn Superman. For instance, this Superman is obsessed with what people think of him, especially online, which is a weird choice after 100 years has established Superman is not vain in any sense. This Superman also loses his temper at the drop of a hat. Lois, I mean, there's lots of screaming, lots of smashing stuff and throwing stuff around. When Lois is pinning him down about his policy, he doesn't calmly answer her questions like Reeve and so on would have, like even Cavill, even the Grimdark stuff. He would have just been like, yeah, whatever. Like you see her questioning him in that scene, and he doesn't get excited. But this Superman blows his top like constantly. And when we have a scene between Lois questioning him and Brosnahan does a fantastic job portraying a woman who's absolutely terrified this dude is about to rip her in half like a phone book. I didn't care for it. And since it hadn't been previously established in Superman lore, I have to assume this is just Gunn projecting all this nonsense. But yeah, the the online thing, the mutant monkeys thing is real. They do nothing but badmouth Superman on the internet from a pocket dimension. It's stupid. There's really nothing more to be said about this. It's dumb, and somebody needed to do the adult thing and tell Gunn to cut that part, but that didn't happen. Another point was the trailer pretty much spoiled the movie. The trailer is most of the movie. There's obviously more. You know, it's a 5-10 minute trailer and it's a 129-minute movie, but it was like, but you pretty much get the movie from the trailers. I don't recall anything really surprising me or any real twists that deviate from what was presented. You know, obviously you see characters more, but you really don't see more going on. But anyway, oh God, wrapping this up, we'll make two more points and then I'll let you guys go. Basically, this ain't your daddy's Superman. It's not Siegel Schuster. It's not Reeve. It's not Ralph. It's not Cable. It's not even Tyler Hoechlin. Superman and Lois gone too soon. It's not even the DC animated universe. This is Gunn's Superman through and through on every level. He is the weakest Superman I have ever seen by far. He spends 129 minutes getting his butt kicked by everyone. spit on by everyone, talked down to by everyone, just crapped on by everyone and everything, and does not, in fact, have a triumphant final fight. The final fight sees him calling in favors from everyone introduced throughout the film in order to win. So there's no final fight where Superman bests everyone. The characters surrounding him do 90% of the lifting. He's emotionally unstable. He's extremely vulnerable. He's vain. He's very sensitive. But maybe he's the perfect Superman for this day and age. And that's really my big point. This is not a Superman for me. This is not who I grew up with or who I believe the Man of Steel to be. He's not even a different take like Henry Cavill. He's essentially James Gunn imagining what he'd be like as Superman. That's the impression I'm left with. So if you love James Gunn and you don't have preconceived notions of who Superman is and is not, you're going to love this movie. And that's my final point is this is still going to be a cash cow. This movie's going to make a ton of money. And that's all it needed to do. People are going to come in droves, and there will even be folks who love this movie, so more power to them. I am not here to tell anyone their preference in established characters is right or wrong. All I'm going to say is this was definitely not a movie for me. I am not the target audience. I strongly disliked it, even if I did laugh a couple times and started to feel it a little bit here and there before, of course, the dog starts mauling another person and ruins it. And you're just like, uh, so there it is, everyone. Superman, the Clark Kent for this day and age, the flagship title of a whole new cinematic universe that'll make DC tons of cash. So strap yourselves in. It's going to be a cinematic universe, and it's all going to have, I assume, this kind of treatment. That this is what they are going to deliver to the people. But anyway, I'd say I'd ranted enough for one day. I mean, crummy, I'm over 20 minutes. Sorry I kept you guys so long. I am going to go watch an old movie. I am going to brush my teeth, wash my mouth out from this movie, and go watch something good and go have fun and try not to think about this movie for a while. Like I said, it was not for me. I strongly disliked it. But by all means, everybody go check it out for yourselves. Make up your own minds. Just like they say in the Tool songs, think for yourself, question authority. So, even me, especially me. But anyway, thank you all for hanging in there as long as you did. I appreciate it. And welcome to all the new people on the channel. Welcome to the journey. I put out videos all the time, so feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell icon, all that YouTube stuff. I'm bound to shoot something out there that'll entertain somebody. So, but y'all drink some water, go watch some cartoons, watch a good movie, read a comic book, roll some dice, do something fun. And as always, have a good one.